Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'll take a look at a brand new game currently on Kickstarter called Wild Serengeti. This is a brand new one from Bad Comet Games. It is a 1 to 4 player game that takes roughly 45 minutes to an hour and a half to play. It is a competitive game where players are going to be competing against other players to gain the most points and be the overall winner at the end of the game. In this video I'll show you the main features of the game and also show you a sample turn to help you decide whether or not this is one you want to back on Kickstarter. If you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow and produce this content. If you want to stay updated on all my videos, so consider ringing that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new stuff. So let's head to the table and we'll see what this one's all about. I want to start by looking at the scene cards, as players are going to gain new scene cards throughout the game and complete scene cards to gain victory points and a number of other things. So looking at these cards, at the top of some of the cards are going to be icons which will provide players with additional ways to gain victory points throughout the game, or provide other bonuses. Then each scene card in the middle of the card is going to provide the player with the way to complete that card. The first one we'll look at are these straight line scenes where we have to have these animals in a straight line on the board in the order that they're shown, and some of them will also have specific requirements for the space that they must be in as well. Once a player completes that, then they can trade the card in for the rewards at the bottom of the card, and those can grant players with victory points, different ways of gaining victory points based on the icons that they have, or even providing them with other benefits. Then we also have adjacency scenes where the top animal has to be surrounded by the other animals in one of the 8 spaces that is surrounding that animal in order to complete that scene. And then finally we have terrain scenes where the animals must be on the piece of terrain that is listed, but they can be anywhere on the board. They do not have to be adjacent to each other or next to each other. They can be on completely opposite sides of the board, as long as they're in the spots that are required. For example, with this card, we must have 2 zebra in the forests, we must have 1 in the water, and a lion in a water space in order to complete that scene. Next, let's take a look at the 2 different game boards that players are going to be interacting with throughout the game. The first one is the actions board, and this is going to have spaces for the 4 different categories of animals, as well as it's going to list the different actions that a player can potentially take during their turn. In order to carry out an action, a player must place their action token in an open space on that action, and then they're also going to have to pay 1 coin. If there's not a space open on that action, they can still take it, but it's going to cost them additional coins in order to do so. Once a player selects an action, they'll carry that action out, and then it'll pass to the next player. And this is going to continue going from player to player until all the players pass for the round. The other board that players are going to be interacting with is the main game board, and this is going to be the main way that players are going to be able to complete their scene cards. They're going to do this by carrying out different actions to either bring the animals onto the board or move them once they're on the board itself. The board itself is broken down into a grid system where each space is going to list the type of terrain that space is, where we have 4 different types of terrain. You have plains, rocks, water, and forests or trees. Then the player, as they complete their different scene cards, will gain points and rewards for that they're going to track on the sides of the board that is going to keep track of all of the points for all the players. The game itself is played over 6 rounds, which are going to be tracked by the Rock of Ages, and during each round it is going to be broken down into 2 different steps. The first step is where players are going to take their actions, and this is going to start with the player that has the first player token and then bounce back and forth from players. During each player's turn, that player is going to carry out 1 or 2 actions, and then it'll pass to the next player. This is going to continue going from player to player until all the players have passed. At that point, then you're going to move into the second step of the round, which is round preparation for the next round. During this step, you're going to advance the round marker to the next space and then carry out any actions that are listed there, including events, which will trigger great migrations, where animals are going to move off of the main game board back onto the upper board, the action board, which will be carried out during rounds 4, 5, and 6. You're also going to gain additional coins. You'll gain a new scene card, and then these scenes are going to be wiped away and discarded, and new ones will come out, as well as other things that players will gain at certain points, such as rounds 4 and 6 will have a special award ceremony, and the player that has the most animals of that category will gain victory points for that. And then at the end of the 6th round, when players have totaled up all their points, the player that has the most points will be the winner of the game. Alright, so the final thing I want to go over is a sample round to show you how a round roughly plays. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first player, and that player is going to take an action or 2 actions depending upon if they want to spend the extra coins. So in order to do this, the player is going to choose a basic action, which during the first round, we are not allowed to do the swipe animals or moving animals actions. So we're limited to either deploying animals onto the game board, taking an additional scene card from the scene supply, or renewing the scene, where we would be able to clear the cards that are out there, placing new cards out, and then choosing one of those to gain. In either one of those actions, we can also pay additional coins to take additional scene cards. So with my player over here, that player does have the 4 scenes that they're trying to complete. And so I think I'm going to start by working on this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and place my token to deploy a vulture. So discover scavengers, and I will have to spend a coin in order to do that. Then I'll take one of those, and I get to place them anywhere on the board I want to, as long as the space is empty. So with this particular scene that I'm trying to complete, I do need to place the vulture in a forest. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and place that one there. From there, I don't want to carry out a second action, so it'll move over to the other player to take an action. So that player is also going to consult their cards and choose which one that they want to try to go after. And you can work on multiple cards at once. This is not something that you have to choose one card only to work on. And you can kind of keep an eye on what your opponent's doing and maybe even benefit from some of the things that they do. So with my player, I have a lot of zebras that I can potentially work on. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and deploy a zebra. So I have to spend my coin, and then I'm going to go ahead and place a zebra in the water. I'm not going to take a second action, so it'll move back over to the first player to take another action. So with my player, I'm working on the vulture, so I do need a gator that's going to be next to him. So I'll spend a coin, I'll move my action over there and take one of those. And it does have to be adjacent to my vulture, so it has to be in one of these 8 spaces surrounding that vulture. I don't need any gators for anything else at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and place him up here. Then I will go ahead and not take another action, so it's going to go ahead and pass over to my other player. I could take a free action to complete that card at this point, but I don't have to if I don't want to. So moving back over to the player over here, that player is going to continue working on that card, so they are going to spend a coin and move it. They have to spend 2 coins to go over here with the lions, and they'd have to spend additional coins to go there since they are already there. So let's start on a different card as well. So let's go ahead and place out one of the giraffes, as I can start working on some of that. And I will place that one, place him down here. Okay, then it's going to bounce back to my other player, who is going to take an action. They will go ahead and play this over here to place out a hyena. I need to have one in the grasslands, and the other one can be on any terrain piece. It doesn't have any requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and place that one up there. And for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and say that I want to take a second action. So I'm going to go ahead and place that there. And what do I want to do? I'll do another action there, so I'm going to go ahead and place my second hyena out. That will let me complete this card, so I'm going to move this one down, and I'm going to gain an animal for the trophies, and then I also will gain a piece of meat that I can spend to move animals around. So I gain that, and I might as well go ahead and complete this other one as well as a free action. So that one will also get me some hearts. That'll help me at the end of the game. So then we're going to move back over to my other player over here to go. So he's still working on that. So I'll go ahead and bounce back over there to gain another zebra that I'll place out. So with this one, it needs to be in a forest, so I'll go ahead and place him down there. And then I will not do anything else, so it'll move back over to my player here. This player is going to pass, so that'll end their round. It'll move back over to the other player who can take one final action before the round ends, even though he could potentially do more. So that player is going to spend a coin to, let's see, we do have the giraffe out. The zebra is not in the right position, but I could... nope, can't do that. So let's go ahead and bounce back up and do that lion. So I'll go ahead and grab the lion. And he needs to be in the water. So it doesn't matter where he is, so I'll place him up there. All right, so that is all I can do with that. So at this point, then the round is going to end, and we'll move into the preparation step for the next round, where our players are going to, first off, move the round marker over 1. Then we are going to have to handle any events. There is no event for round 2. We are going to redraft our scene pool, so these cards will go away. And a new set will come out. From there, each player is going to draw 4 new scene cards and choose one of them to keep, discarding the remaining ones. Then from there, we're going to receive any round rewards. So each of the players are going to gain 6 new coins. And then finally, the player is going to pass the first player marker to the next player in clockwise order. From there, then we would start a new round with that player. This is going to continue going until we've completed the 6th round. At that point, then the player that has the most points will be crowned the victor and has made the best documentary and will be the winner of the game. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Or swing by the Kickstarter's main page and drop any questions you have there as well. I'm sure the creators would love to hear from you and are more than happy to answer any questions you have. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos and leave me feedback on them. I do really appreciate it, and I take into account everything you say to make the best possible videos. Until next time, I'll see you later.